will not be televised.
I like to sit and meditate on what it is I'm going to work on, or I meditate on the canvas, and after a while,
statements out to the people through his work, and you do the same thing, Q. So you're representing very well here on being the Malcolm Jamal Warner tribute. Now we're going to take some time right now to see Malcolm Jamal in action right here on the BAF Solutions Network.
Here, which is nothing but his story. You didn't know that? It's all history is somebody's story. You know what I'm talking about. Columbus didn't discover America. He was lost. And the end discovered him, and Abraham Lincoln didn't free any slaves. Or another way to look at it, my story is very, very close to the word mystery. And I want to clear up a couple of mysteries right now. The book is titled Great People, Past and Present. What happened to a people that built the pyramids and yet now live in projects? What happened? What happened to a people that were the first to read and write using a term called hieroglyphics, and yet now can no longer read or write? In essence, what happened to a people in terms of Egypt? It's amazing. King Tut came to America, and we didn't realize that King Tut was one of us. Somebody mysteriously took Egypt out of Africa and placed it in the Middle East. Now, how do you take a country out of a continent and then call it something else? As a result, we didn't realize that Egypt is in Africa. Egyptians are Africans, and we were the ones that built those pyramids. But my is, pick up this word right here.
Yes, sir. Jawanza Kanjufu. Welcome, welcome, welcome to BAF Solutions Network, everybody. We are here, so excited to introduce somebody special. And I am so glad because Mama Nabuntu's been a mentor, a leader, and you all will be able to hear some more about her. And before we do, y'all know it is Master Motivators Monday. So we're coming in live from the Kemet Club, and we'd like for everybody to come in with great breath inside the belly, have everybody getting a good start of the week, which is why we wanted to do Master Motivators Monday, so you can all be motivated to come together and build on this collective economics. So I would love for you all to sit on up tall, get some good breath in your belly, and we're gonna go ahead and meditate on what we just heard with Jawanza Kanjufu. We're thinking about all of the electromagnetic energy that the Kemet people knew, the people from Kemet knew. I'm working on not saying Egypt because that's not what it was even called, what they called it. But those people from Kemet, they knew so much about raising your vibration, about bringing in holistic knowledge. So I want to go ahead and employ you to sit on up and be motivated today. And we're gonna release the breath and breathe in. And breathe out. And breathe in patience, breathe in love, collective economics, and breathe out. Breathe in alignment to the divine. Breathe in Black Achievement Fund. Breathe out anything that doesn't serve you, anything that brings you pain. And breathe in. And breathe out. Our people knew so much about frequencies, about healing. Breathe in. The breath is so important. And breathe out. Breathe in collective economics. Breathe in love. Breathe in patience. Breathe in unity and breathe out. Ashe, Ashe. We have so much that we want to bring you all today. We have a master motivator, which is why we wanted to bring in Jawanza Kunjufu at the beginning. Jawanza Kunjufu is an amazing, amazing master motivator. So please look at his information online. You can see so much from Jawanza Kunjufu. I have a book called Collective Economics. And this person right here online with us, she's an amazing master motivator. She's done a lot. And one of the organizations that she's partnering with is Black Sustainability Network. So we'd love to give our business spotlight. Here's your commercial for our BAF Business Spotlight, Black Sustainability Network, Black Sustainability Inc.
Welcome to the Black Sustainability Network, your one-stop shop for all things Black and green. If you are looking for Black people across all sustainability sectors, from water, eco-housing, agriculture, waste, energy, conservation, you name it, you can find enthusiasts, experts, and entities here. Welcome to the Black Sustainability Network, your one-stop shop for all things Black and green.
Yeah, that's Sister Raina right there. She's amazing. She has such an amazing spirit. Love running into her. She's always doing a lot. And the Black Sustainability Network you can find here. We have so many people that are connected, collaborating, creating. As you see, we are building the largest Black and green network of sustainability professionals, entrepreneurs, and enthusiasts. So go ahead and join, become a member. It is a low monthly cost, just $10 a month. And then as you increase in your membership, you really get a huge amount of access to as you become a member. Over 2,400 members already, all over the world, as you see. And we actually connect with a lot in Africa. They actually just got back from Ghana. So the Black Sustainability Summit here, as you see here, our annual summit was actually in Ghana. So Mama Nabuntu is actually the one that told me about Black Sustainability Network. And they have a lot of programs like this, Afroecology. So if you want to learn about farming, agriculture, sustainability, they're helping us with our new Kemet land development project and supporting us here at the Kemet Club. They do a lot of teaching. They have a lot of people that come together in many different industries. So we call them industry houses. And within those houses, there are a lot of people that come together and build a sustainable network. And today, we have somebody super special, super special. We have Mama Nabuntu, Dr. Mama Nabuntu. And I am so excited to introduce her today. She's quoted as the mother of humanity. And we do stay sleepless until the battle is won. There's a lot that goes on, so I definitely resonate with that. Born in Oakland, California, raised in San Francisco, Dr. Mama Nabuntu has spent her life committed to education, Pan-African liberation, and intergenerational empowerment. As the mother of 5 adult children, grandmother of 8, and a mother figure to over 300 former students, Mama Nabuntu's nurturing spirit extends far beyond her family. Her oldest son, diagnosed with Down syndrome, has been a profound teacher of patience and calm traits that define her leadership. And even though he does have Down syndrome, he has such a wonderful spirit. You can feel his spirit, and you get a breath of fresh air knowing that he can do anything that he wants to do. He just roams around, meets and greets people, has such an amazing spirit. So even though people believe that you're handicapped, like, nah, you have a lot of capacities. So I'll just read this next one. Mama Nabuntu holds a doctorate in education leadership from Nova Southern University, a Master of Arts in elementary education from San Francisco State University, and a bachelor's degree in social work from the University of California at Berkeley. She began her formal teaching career in 1972 in California, affectionately known as Little Nairobi, East Palo Alto. With nearly 50 years of experience as an educator, principal, and founder of African-centered community-based institutions, her impact on African-centered education is vast and ongoing. And it explains a lot about her beginnings, like how she became an activist in 1968 at UC Berkeley. But I would love to highlight all of these different organizations. You can find more about her teaching and how she got into the Poor People's Campaign, the Shule Yatafa, the Shule Nyansa Sua, the Shule Mandela Academy, School of Wisdom and Knowledge College Preparatory Academy, the Council of Independent Institutions, the Sisters of Tomorrow. We're actually going to show a little bit about, or she's going to talk a little bit about that, with the rites of passages and Pan-African travels. Just so many, the list goes on and on. Working with professors and Kemet and world conferences against racism in different places throughout the diaspora. The Pan-African Federalist Movement, that's what PAFM is. And we actually support the PAFM here at the Kemet Club. So we have their flyer here for Pan-African Federalist Movement, as well as the Black Sustainability Network on the back as well. So you can get that information here at the Kemet Club. All these different chiefs and season. Look, the list goes on. We're going to talk a little bit about Quilombo. We're going to talk about Ulu, Us Lifting Us. She's also in Knowledge Keepers, Elders, Banquet Planning Committee, and she sits on the board of many organizations. So we've got a few of those that we're going to highlight. Just talked about the Pan-African Federalist Movement, Beacon Hill Black Alliance for Human Rights, Kwanzaa Metro Atlanta Regional Association, Georgia Black Women Farmers, a seasoned woman at First African Church, which I'm going to show you all that as well. And just the list goes on. I'm sure there's even more that they couldn't even put into just this 5-paragraph summary. But Dr. Mama Nabuntu, we're so glad that you're here. Thank you for being here. We'd love to see you soon in person. But right now, we're blessed to be able to have you online. Mama Nabuntu, we'd love to hear a little bit about your story. Great day. Thank you for joining BAF Solutions Network.
Yes. I am so honored to just be in this space right now with you and with the BAF in the background and being in Kemet Club. It's an inspiration for me that I have been asked to talk about my motivations and my motivators, basically, and how I motivated people. And sometimes I don't even realize how I motivated people until people come up to me and said, yeah, I didn't know about this until I heard it from you. And how can I get involved? I want to be a volunteer, so I need more of that right now. So some people call all of this insanity. But, I don't know if it's insanity. They say, you need to go see a psychologist. Nobody does that. Nobody is in all these kinds of organizations. What are you doing? I said, well, I don't have a husband. So, I can do whatever I want to do. I can be involved what I want to be, because, if I did have one, they'll be saying, no, you can't go there. And, I would suggest that you stay home and all that kind of stuff. It'd have to be somebody that active like myself, that understands how important it is for our community to be involved and to be working with our community so we can continue to fight for our liberation. We're not free. People walking around like everything is hunky-dory and everything is, it's not always going to be that way. And if you see the horizon with the political atmosphere or the ecosystem, I don't know what you want to call it, that we're in now, we know that things have to change and that we have to be working together as a people. There's no choice. There's no choice at all.
Right, right. So speaking of the people that motivated you, I'd love to hear anybody that motivates you. I know you mentioned that you have had a relationship with Dr. Jawansa Kunjufu, a business relationship.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Right, people are this English language doesn't explain if it's a friend relationship, a marriage relationship,
Right.
but it's so wonderful to wake up and I saw that book and I've been reading it. This is the second book that I've been reading, but this one by Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu, this one is Black Economics. So I'm gonna go over, have a conscious cam and going over to the book corner here in the Kemet Club. We have a lot of books that we have here at the Kemet Club. So we've been able to bring together the conscious cam and highlighting our space and highlighting how we have our book club every Tuesday at 6 p.m. But our Black economics understanding comes from Marcus Garvey, but also Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu. I've been learning a lot, and there's a lot that he shares, like the miseducation of the Negro. So we get a lot of miseducation being Black. We also need to raise our Black boys and Black men. So you having a son and having children, how has Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu been a master motivator in your life?
I believe I have almost all of his books sitting on my shelf. I mean, I have a library. I'm looking over here, at least 500 to 800 books in my library. And I have quite a few books on Jawanza Kunjufu. I was honored to be able to go to Chicago and become a consultant for his program, Set Clay, Self-Esteem Through Culture. Um, I can't remember all the parts of the acronym, but it was a program that he and another sister named Falami Prescott put together. And I think that Brother Jomoke Kunjufu had something to do with it as well. But it was a program from K to, I think, eighth, I think it was went to high school, where they talked about how, first of all, they had an inventory when a child came into the school to see where their head was at. Were they Afrocentric? Were they Eurocentric? Did they appreciate an African? Did they know who they were, or who they are, whose they are? And it was a great way to start off when you're in your classroom. You have an idea where the head minds or the mindset of these children were before you even start teaching. So that was those kinds of programs that he had really inspired me in my teachings in my classroom. Yeah, there you go. You got all those books. Yeah, I think I have most of them. Yeah, I use them in my classroom almost every day. In our literature, the kids would take different books like Positive Images and Discipline, one about Black boys, and I also had the opportunity to introduce this to my parents as well, because a lot of time when you're teaching a student, you're also teaching the parent, because a lot of parents, when they bring their kids to the school, they don't have a background in Afrocentricity. And so
I didn't have any background in. I've been learning a lot these past few years since going to A&T. North Carolina A&T is the main way that I got introduced to Afrocentric education, and didn't know a lot that I've been finding out. So I'm one of those people too.
yeah,
Sorry.
well, for me, it started gonna maybe go off track a little bit, but when I finished the University of California at Berkeley, it was in 1969. And just before I graduated, they had a little newspaper called the Berkeley Barb where I found out there was a trip going to Ghana. And I was so interested in going to Africa at that time. I was like maybe I think I was around 20, 19 or 20. And when I saw that, I'm going. I didn't have no money. I don't know where it was coming from, but I'm going. I told everybody I was going. So I managed to raise enough money to go. I didn't know anybody that was going beside myself, but I was so interested in Africa and learning more that I just felt like I had to go. So I was one of 175 African Americans, which was probably one of the largest group to ever land in Ghana at one time. So I had the opportunity to befriend a lot of people and get a chance to learn about the culture of Ghana and a little bit of the language and just the way people live in in Ghana and why they do libations. I had questions about that and what was it all about, you know. And then when I went and saw people on videos, I look like that looks like my cousin. That wow. And then I'll be walking the street, I'll be staring at people because they look like people that from my family, you know. So it was a shock to be in a country with all Black people coming from a area like Berkeley, where it was definitely all kinds of different diversity of people at UC Berkeley, but going to Africa and just being surrounded by Black people and billboards, all the commercials, all Black, all the workers were Black. That was a shock to my system, you know, to be in that kind of environment. So that was the beginning of my getting involved with Afrocentricity and then coming back into to the States and ended up in Washington, D.C., working with an independent school there, trying to see if I want to do social work. And no, what I really wanted to do was to teach because I felt like our children were not being taught in the public schools. So that's pretty much how I got into Afrocentric uh, schools and education. And although I had to spend 10 years with the public schools before I got into running and developing and organizing, along with some other positive, progressive folks, conscious people, building a school in East Palo Alto, California. We used to call Little Nairobi because it was a culture point in the Bay Area. Everybody would come there to see Kwame Ture would come through there. I could name many scholars that came through East Palo Alto that, influence us about who we are.
So, is there anybody that you recommend people looking at, or anything that you do on a daily basis that brings in that motivation, or anything that helps you feel like a master, or helps you get in that master motivated spirit?
You talk about particular people. Well, there's so many leadership people here in the Atlanta area, and a lot from I learned from California as well. That motivated me. There's a brother named Dr. Omawale Satterite, who was truly a mentor to me. He's well known across the country. He goes around and help people set up their boards, and he inspired me to start speaking publicly because when I first came to that little town, East Palo Alto, after finishing UC Berkeley and finishing San Francisco State, where I got my teacher's degree, um, I wasn't about speaking publicly to anybody. And so they had an organization called PAPO, was uh, Political African Political Organization. Uh, it was out of San Francisco, but they put a chapter down in East Palo Alto, and they wanted me to be the spokesperson. I said, "Oh no, I can't do that." And so Brother Omawale said, "I'll write what you need to say if you would do it." So eventually I did. And I started speaking on behalf of this organization, Political African Organization. Uh, and and it helped me, I guess, to come out of myself and to be able to speak to people on a regular basis. Now, since I've been, I haven't had to speak because there's so many people here that do very well with the speaking that I sort of stopped. So, yeah, I guess right now I'm going back to doing it again. Um, I had a chance to meet Ivan Van Sertima, who wrote the book about, you know, we were already here in Africa. I can't quite remember the name of the title of the book, but what he um, what he wrote about was how we were here way before Columbus got here, and we were all over the world basically. So I had a chance to bring my students to a lecture that he gave, and one of the others that inspired me was the sister wrote Isis. Um,
The ISIS papers.
yes,
That Dr. Franz Chris Wilson.
Dr. Franz Cress Wilson. I had a chance to meet her in person, and everywhere I knew that there was a scholar coming in town, I would take my children, my students there. Was after spending 10 years in the public schools, that's when I started working with uh, my own schools and co-founded with some other people. Like the first school was Shule Ya Taifa. And then from there, we went to Shule Nyasasua in my home, where I built a classroom out of a two-car garage. Because when we started Shule Taifa, we spent more time, I guess we bit more off than we could do. We were going from K to 8, and we figured after a while, after that first year was too much. So they cut it down to K to 4, and then I started my school with children from 5th to 8th grade because my children, my biological children, were in that age group, and they couldn't stay with the other children because they were too old. So yeah, we spent a lot of time preparing to do that with another brother named Bulanlela Wobogo. He was a person that was one of my professors at San Francisco State, and he was the one that inspired me to leave San Francisco and move to California, where eventually I bought a home there. And I still got it there. My children, two of my children are living there right now, and in East Palo Alto, California. So he was the one, Bulale Waboga, he wrote a book also. It's a very I think it's about 700 pages that he does the history of why there's such thing as white supremacy. And he starts way back in Kemet all the way to the present. So uh, yeah, he was an inspiring person to me as well. So yeah,
Okay, okay.
of course I'm looking here in Atlanta, brother Akinlele is very inspiring to me as well. All the things that he's doing, the books he's writing and have written is very inspirational. And Brother Hakeem, uh, who was part of Us Lifting Us, but he was one of the brothers with the organization. Goodness, um, hmm, it'll come to me in a minute. But he was arrested in Mississippi when brother, what's the brother's name? He was part of the organization where we wanted to have 5 states. Um, and that's what we were working for, was the 5 states. And so the FBI and CIA went to Mississippi to try to get Imari Obadeli. He was the president of the organization that's going to come to me in a minute. And so Brother Hakima was one of those folks that was arrested and spent some time in the Mississippi jails. Um, but he also was able to, on some kind of technical issues, was able to be released. And so he's been in Atlanta ever since and started the African Community Center and Us Lifting Us. I think he started African Community Center about 2 years before 2 years before I moved here. So I moved here in '06. Yeah. So Republic of New Africa, that's it. The Republic of New Africa was about claiming 5 states as the states that we felt the government should give to us because we have worked in those states for hundreds of years. We toiled it, and that we felt like all the work that we put into that land should be given to us. So the Republic of New Africa is still in existence to this day. And now the
Yeah,
Republic of Africa came in Cobra, and that's another organization that
yeah,
I'm a part of is in Cobra, a life long member, lifetime member of in Cobra. So, and that has to do with reparations. And so now I'm working locally with reparations, and and it's really been something I think is important for people to understand what reparations is all about. If you start locally, then I think people get a better understanding about how it works on a national and global level. So that's a lot of work there. And one of the other brothers that inspired me with that is Jamoke uh, Ifitayo. And that brother knows the history. He has collected so much information about Nkobra. And so I looked up to him as well, even though he's younger than I am. Um, I learned a lot from him because he's got the history down about Nkobra. And a lot of times I had to step away from the movie because I was having babies, 72, 73, 74, 76, 79. Those are the times I was raising children. So I missed out on some of the conscious movements that were going on because I was doing that and running the school at the same time. So
wow,
it was a busy life. I've always been busy, even when I was in high school. Went to Balboa High School in San Francisco. I was on all kinds of clubs. I was in the advanced club, the club that dealt with medicine. Um, I wasn't in the sports though, but I went to all the football games and basketball games and things like that. But I also went to the Italian club because I spent 4 years studying Italian because I thought I was going to be a pianist because I learned how to play the piano. My mother taught me, gave me lessons, but when I got to be 13, so I can't be practicing this 8 hours a day. It's just a little too much for me. I want to be out there with my friends and in the community. So yeah, I was like, can we all get along? That was where I was in high school. And then from there I learned that, yeah, but we gotta have our own, we need to have our own way of learning. We had to be working together as a people about our history and our culture. The culture was important. And then that culture piece started with my children were born. I felt like they should have a naming ceremony. So all my children had naming ceremonies. And then from there, they went to rites of passage, which is when I co-founded the rites of passage group, Sisters of Tomorrow, back in 1984 because I felt that, if our children on the continent are going through rites of passage, learning how to be positive women and men, why aren't we doing it here? So that became something I felt was important, that all my girls need to go through the rites of passage. And all of them did. They all went through the rites of passage program, and they are the beautiful, independent businesswomen that they are today. Because all of them have a business and all of them, you know, even though they didn't start teaching like they say they didn't want to teach, but they do teach in the various careers that they're in. So, my experience with independent African centered schools and my children going through there was a positive thing. And they themselves are now motivating people where they live. You know, one is in Tulsa, two in California, and one in Houston, Texas. And they have developed their own little village where they are based on what they've learned from from the family that they were raised in. Because basically running a school, being a single mom, I needed a village, you know. So I had a lot of Babas around that helped me raise my daughters. You know, they had soccer coaches, you know, they had African dance. You know, I felt like, you know, they had to know how to dance African dance and Congolese dance. So they learned about African dance. They learned how to play tennis. They learned how to get on a trampoline. You know, I felt like they need to be exposed to as much as possible. You never know what's going to trigger and what they're going to hold on to. And some of them held on to soccer and became soccer coaches. Um, you know, some of them ended up teaching dance. So, you know, I guess that's part of my motivation part is motivating my children and my students. The students, like I said, over 300 students that I have taught, I also exposed them to as much as I could because I mean, I feel like our children are born as geniuses and that what we have to do is expose them to as much as possible so they can say, oh, that's what I want to do. Or that inspired me and I want to become like this person or I want to be involved with that particular career. So that for me is like a way to motivate is to through exposure. You know, you got to expose folks. So,
That's what happened to me. That's what I was thinking about. That's what happened to me. I have a similar story, just being real active, and parents always kept me into a lot. And now people say the same thing to me. How are you in all these organizations? I see you everywhere. Hey, I saw you on the news yesterday. Hey, I saw you on the news. Like, yeah, I
right.
mean, I'm just, I'm following in the footsteps of somebody like you. You're definitely somebody that I wanted to keep in community with, and I'm glad that we've been able to work together. I met you here with the Black Achievement Fund, and then I joined Pan African Federalist Movement. I joined Black Sustainability Network. I supported with the Collard Green Festival. So, I'm in the footsteps, learning the same. I didn't even know that you work with them, but something told me to grab this book earlier today.
Mm.
And it's just the spirit. And I'd love to hear, I'm gonna show some of the drone footage that I got from the Collard Green Festival and it goes right in line with what you're talking about. Me being exposed to a lot led me to Boy Scouts, getting my Eagle Scout and being in that rites of passage. It also led to me going to school for atmospheric science and meteorology. It led to me becoming a teacher in physics. It led to me becoming an atmospheric scientist and learning about drones. And I've been drumming my whole life. So I created my own program called Drums, Drones, and Dreams. And drumsanddrones.com is where that information is, and reaching out if you need some drone work. But I got the pleasure to support with drone footage at the Collard Green Festival.
Oh,
Looks
wow.
like,
I don't remember seeing this. This is great. We need to
yeah,
put this on our website.
yep,
You
yep.
probably
I
sent
need
it to me. I just have to pull it out. You sent so much. So you sent
Right,
this.
right. Yeah, I'll send you a few of the highlights. Looks like I'm getting a few pauses, but you can see some of these clips when at the Collard Green Festival and Black Sustainability Network in 2023. And that was at the Promised Land. It was so beautiful with the lake, and we had so many people out there. Your
Yeah.
ice cream was so amazing. You had a stage over here where they had an amazing reggae band, and you'll see here the grounds here out in Stonecrest. and there was overflow parking. There were people parking at the top, at the bottom. There were so many people. So you've definitely shown an amazing experience, cultured or centered around the culture and centered around collard greens. So while I show some of this footage, do you mind telling people tips and tricks of how you can be in business and how you can host retreats and festivals?
Well, with the festival, it started off as a fundraiser for the school that I ran in East Palo Alto. And if you look at the logo, you'll see little legs on it. It became its own,
Oh,
um,
here we
its
go.
own entity by itself. And so, I mean, I was able to bring community people together um, wherever we had the festivals, volunteers to come and help with different aspects of the festival. My daughter say is a lot, is too much. There's a lot that goes into the festival. It's more than just the greens, um, because we look at sustainability, which is how Black sustainability now has a pavilion there, permanent pavilion at the Collard Green Festival, and then wellness, because I felt like, we need to understand ways of how we can heal ourselves. So we bring healers and practitioners there to get our people to understand you don't have to be strictly on pharmaceuticals, that you can get away from them. And there's ways that we can heal ourselves with our food and with our own supplements that will help us. And so I felt like we had to have that. We had to have a children's sprout land where children can learn how to grow their own greens and learn how to do activities among themselves. And wow, you're making me hungry looking at collard greens. How about a
Right, I was about to
cornbread?
say them collard greens and that what's it called? That cornbread.
How about a cornbread?
Yeah, man, hot water cornbread, y'all gotta get you some. Ooh-wee. Yeah, it was very very good, and even the ice cream. I didn't know that collard green ice cream would be so good, but you actually made it taste delightful. I was skeptical at first, like what in the world?
Every Everybody is skeptical. If I say collard green ice cream, I get this big frown and this ugly looks from people. And then I said, why don't you try and taste it? We have a lot of people who are courageous and they will taste it and their whole expression just relax and totally change. Then you have
Yeah.
some stubborn folks that, no, I'm not tasting it because I know it's going to taste bad. I couldn't even get them to take a spoonful, some of them. But the majority of people, even when they said they didn't think they would like it, they would take the taste, and then
I mean,
everything
you
changed.
you see
I,
the proof in the pudding. If the children act like this after eating it, then hey, you know it's gonna be good. Yeah, I mean the children are very important, which is one reason why we're here. Even I got to perform here. Like you host a lot of performers, and a lot of them are children. I actually have a video of the Quilombo, not Quilombo, the Ade Omoda
oh,
and
Egun
the
Olade.
Igun
Egun
Imoda.
Olade.
They're an amazing group, and I've been able to capture the footage over the past few years, and each one has been amazing. But I know that the children are super important. Oh, even Shay Free was able to do the healing session, a part of the Sprout as well. Our president Shay Free was able to partner with you, and she said you called her and said, "Hey, I need some help." And if you get a call from Mama Ubuntu saying, "Hey, I got something for you. I need some help," then how can you say no? So we definitely know that you're somebody that we can trust, somebody that we can learn from, and it's very important for us to get with you. And then here's the First African Baptist Church as well. So after this video
Are you frozen? I think you're frozen. Can't hear anything.
Rhino Green Eye.
Raina. Greetings. I don't know. I'm supposed to be interviewed by Julian. We just talked about the Black sustainability, and he went frozen and disappeared. And you called. I don't know. I don't know where he is. I guess he'll call back in a minute. Yeah. Yeah, he wanted. Yeah, he want to be a motivator or something. I said, I don't know what to say, and talk about you with the Black sustainability, and you motivated people to be involved, and you with the Pan-African Fellows movement. Oh, he just went on and on and on. I said, okay, I know I'm doing too much. It's called insanity. What do you mean the team? Oh, you can ready to work with the staff. Wait, okay, hold on a second. Hold on. Julian, what happened? Hello? Yeah, you got frozen and disappeared. Oh no. Well, Raina called at the same time. She's on the other end right now. So, yes. Oh, they're probably hearing you now because my audio's on. They heard everything you just said. But I got Raina on the other end, so I need to finish with her and come back to you. Okay? So this is part one. Okay. We'll go on to part two another time. Okay. All right. I guess you guys heard what Julian just said. We're going to close this out. It's been really inspiring for me to be able to talk about how the motivations that I have done here, which sometimes I only realize I'm motivating people, but obviously people have been motivated because they all seem to want to be involved. So we're going to end this session and hopefully we'll be having another session about these monster motivators. Is it called monster? What motivating? Well, how do you call it? Master motivator. Okay. So why don't you say that one more time and it'll be Julian's gonna say, our
2, 3 master motivators. So go ahead and join me. 1, 2, 3.
master motivators. All right.
Ashay, thank you so
Ashe.
much, Mama Nabuntu.
You're
I'll see you
welcome.
soon, ma.
Okay. All right. Peace. Okay, we had to close out on him because his computer crashed. He said he has so much on there that it crashed on him. So we ended that session. We'll pick it up another time. But getting back to the goals that the board has set for the staff, is that what you were saying? Okay. So what do